Hi, it's Nell, and welcome to my kitchen patio. I just love being outdoors. I love eating outdoors. This is right outside my kitchen sliding glass door. So convenient. But this patio set is badly in need of a paint job. And this is a vintage set from the 1950s. It was given to my mother by her older friend, and it was a pale yellow. I painted it dark green for my mother. And then when she gave it to me, I painted it this blue when I had it in Santa Barbara. And so it has been like 7 years since it's been painted, and it's long overdue. And now I'm here in Tucson, Arizona, where the sun is so strong. It's only March 4th. And it's already like crazy, crazy, crazy. Everything they say about the Southwest and the sunshine is true. There is a lot of it here. So I want to get this done even before spring hits, so this set is nice and protected. And I have a medium grit sanding block here. Just gonna even it out around those spots where it's peeling off. Get that one. That one's being a bit stubborn. Oh, okay, that's better. And it looks a little scratchy, but that's going to wash off. And you want to sort of rub your finger over it too to see how it feels. You just make sure there's no rough edges. Okay. That one's done. And when it comes to the tabletop, I'm just going to sand the whole thing. Just like this. And then I'm also going to sand the underside too. So the sanding is done, as evidenced by my blue hands. I ended up having to sand a little bit on the legs of the chairs too, because they were had a few pieces peeling off, but otherwise it's all done. So now the next step is for me to go and get the shop vac, because I need to vacuum the furniture and also vacuum the patio floor. I have 3 of the chairs here and a solution of water and white vinegar, about 1 part of the white vinegar to about 5 parts water, and that's what I'm going to wash these 3 chairs with. And I'm just going to do the 3 today. It is now Sunday, and then next weekend I will do the table and the other chair, because I have to do multiple coats of paint, and then first I'm going to do a little primer, then multiple coats of paint, and then a sealer. So I don't want to be too overly ambitious with this. That would be a lot to do. All right, they are thoroughly washed, and I gave them a good rinse too. So now I just have to let them dry before I apply some primer. It's a little windy, so I had to move the chairs just inside, and I primed them on the bottom. I've already primed them, and I've done a couple coats of blue spray on the bottom. I didn't show you that. But this is the priming here. It just helps to prevent a little bit of the rust, and it also fills in where you have sanded off too. So I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to do the first coat of blue paint, which it'll probably take me about 4 coats with this, because with the lattice you lose a lot of the paint, but it does help to put that barrier up in the back too, and around the sides. It helps also to you don't want to spray on a windy day. That's why I moved it in here, because you lose a lot of paint. So I have 3 good coats of paint on here. On the lattice I put another coat, because that a lot of the paint just goes right through it. So Had to do a little bit extra, and now I'm ready to put on the protectant coat. Probably do 2 coats of that, and I will leave links to the products that I use in the blog post. There'll be a link to that down below because I really like this paint. It covers really well. And here are 2 of the chairs side by side. The one on the left has been done, the one on the right has not. A lot of difference because I'm using exactly the same color, just that you can see that one is a little darker and it looks a lot better, and you probably can't see the sanded spots on that. So now it's time to paint the last chair. Okay, time for the table now. And the table is worn in a lot of places on the top, so I'm just going to go ahead and prime the whole thing. And I'm probably going to prime the legs too, because for some reason this is peeling a lot more than the chairs. It's a little bit shadowy, but I think you can see what the primer looks like. I do a fairly light coat of it. If you're in a climate that's more prone to rust, you probably want to do 2 coats on this. For me, a light one is just fine. Now, after it dries, I'm going to flip it and I will prime the other side. I thought you might enjoy the backdrop of the bougainvillea. It's gorgeous. I have finished this set, and as I was going along, I compiled a list of tips for you. So, these are my tips for spray painting successfully. Alrighty, and I wrote them down because I thought I'm going to be all over the place. I wanted to do them in order so that they would be relevant as you do your project. Okay, so first of all, you want the temperature to be not too hot and not too cold, right around between 55 and 85 degrees. And you also want to avoid spraying in any hot, direct sun. Now, speaking of sun, it's best to do the spraying outside, but if you can't, you can do it in your garage, but just be sure to open up the door if you can to have the air ventilation, because there are some fumes that come along with this. And also, if it's too windy or there's a lot going on, you're going to lose a lot of the spray paint. Now, you want to create a chamber if you can. If you're spraying something like this, I always do. I have 2 large boxes that my patio love seat came in. So I use one on the ground and then one back. And it just kind of stops the spray paint from flying all over the place. I know some people hang plastic and some hang drop cloths to try and create that chamber. It's good if you can do that. And sand if necessary. If you paint over something that's chipping, it's not going to stop it from chipping. You sand it down and then prime it. Especially the priming is important if you're in a climate that is really prone to rust. Or in my case, I did prime totally. I primed the table because that's a surface that's most exposed. Shake the can really well to mix the paint. It's the same as if you have paint in a can, you want to mix up the pigments really well. So I shake it. I shake the can about 100 times when I first use it. It doesn't take long at all. Woo, you know, and it's good arm exercise. And you get much better coating that way. And wear a glove on the hand that is doing the spraying. Now you might use a lever or sometimes they call them a spray gun that attaches on, but still there could be some spray back on it. And for me, I just sprayed right out of the can, and I was getting a blue hand and I was like, where is my glove? So wear a glove. And you want to be about 12 inches away from what you're spraying. You don't want to be too close or too far. Now, that being said, I did the lattice work. That's what the set that I sprayed is, a lattice. And that I was a little bit closer. At the end, when I reveal the patio set, I'm going to talk specifically about spraying lattice, because you may not be spraying lattice. You might be spraying something solid, but try to be about a foot away. And you want to apply multiple light coats rather than one heavy coat, because if you try to put a heavy coat on, it's just going to drip off, or it's going to gunk depending on what the surface is. So I usually spray at least 2 or 3 times. I spray a light coat, just going whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Just think of a graceful ice skating move. Okay, something like that. But you get the idea. Let each coat thoroughly dry before you spray on the next coat. Now that might be anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half or 2 hours, but you want it to be thoroughly dry. You don't want it to be tacky. Now I find like the spray coating, I always put a protectant coating or 2 on, and I find that that dries faster than the paint does, but the paint dries a little bit slower. So don't rush. Say, oh my gosh, I've only got like 45 minutes. I've got to get 3 coats on. No. Wait until you have time to let each coat dry. And speaking of that protectant, you want to put on a protective coat, because why do all this work and not have the extra protection on it? And the one that I use also has a UV protectant, which for me here in Tucson, Arizona is a bonus where there is so much sun. I want to give you a few tips about spray painting lattice. Because you do lose a lot of the paint, and to thoroughly coat the pattern, you have to give it, I find, more coats than a solid coat. I gave the top of this table 5 coats of paint, or maybe 6 actually, because I went this way. I followed the pattern of the lattice this way, and then I went this way. And I did that twice actually, so that is 4 coats. And then I kind of went at an angle to get in between. So I went that way, and then I came back and I went the other way. And as I said, it's really hot here. The sun is really strong. So I just want to make sure that this will last for hopefully 3 years. And then I put the protective coating over it too. But lattice just takes a little extra paint, because a lot of it obviously goes through. I hope you have found this video about spray painting, revitalizing, and protecting a vintage patio set for spring to be helpful. I spend a lot of time out here. I enjoy it, so I'm really going to get a lot more use out of this patio set that has been around for a long time, and it's going to have many more years of use. I thank you for all your likes and your subscribes. I really appreciate them. I enjoy spending time outside and in my garden. And speaking of garden, let's get out in the garden and make the world a more beautiful place. I thank you so much for watching. I have a lot more videos coming your way, and I'll be back soon. Thank you so much. Bye.